Another Facebook Live here for Flyin Miata. Today we're going to talk about daytime running lights, or DRLs. Maybe not the sexiest thing ever. Horsepower is more exciting, but I kind of like the idea of not getting run over by somebody who is paying more attention to their cell phone than piloting their 4,000-pound vehicle. So, what are DRLs? They are this. So basically they are lights that come on with your ignition. So there's not a separate switch for it. Anytime, anytime the car is on, the lights are on. Canadian cars, Canadian Miatas anyway, have come with them since day one, but not really a thing in the US on Miatas anyway until the NDs. So we now have a kit so you can put DRLs in any NA or NB and theoretically NC. So with the NA, you can just pop the Canadian module in there. It's pretty expensive. I think it's about $100, and it doesn't give you quite the flexibility of ours. So we have this kit right here. So there's a module, there's a bunch of wiring stuff, and there's a little 3D printed bracket so that you can hold it. And you can see it's installed in this car right here. So install is super easy. Basically, you've got to hook up switched power, ground, and then you've got to run wires to the turn signal filament, or lead, I guess, if you're talking LEDs, and then also the parking light. So you can set it up one of two ways. I guess maybe we can use multiplication and have multiple setups, but anyway, I'll talk about that in a sec. So this car is set up with our switchback bulbs, so they're white when it's on the parking light mode, and it switches to amber when you change it to the turn signal. So for these guys, we've wired it up so that the parking light is your DRL, and then your turn signal is just your turn signal. There's also the option, it's just a matter of what you do wiring-wise, but there's also the option of hooking it up so that your turn signal is your DRL, and then it's also your turn signal. It's just a matter of whether it's flashing or on all the time. So really, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but generally, if you have switchbacks, I would wire the parking light as the DRL. If you have non-switchbacks, if you just have an amber bulb, then I would do the turn signal as the DRL. The kind of qualifier to that is going to be on the NBs. I think there's probably a pretty high likelihood that you're going to melt the housing if you're using an incandescent bulb. So use an LED really, which is the right answer for a lot of different reasons. But if you're not going to use an LED, use the parking light as your DRL on an NB. So one other neat thing about this, it's, again, with the flexibility, you can set it up so that when you turn the turn signal on, your opposite one stays on, and that's the default, and that's how this car is. Or with a really easy wiring thing, you can make it so that that turns off, and then this comes on, so there isn't, a distracting light on the other side of the car, I guess. Personal preference. Every modern car I've seen leaves the opposite side on, but again, it's up to you. That's about it. I've got a list of questions here that I'll go through briefly, but it's really pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Kyle, do we have any new questions that have come in there?
Someone's asking about the cost.
It is a $50 kit.
We'll put links in the comments.
Yeah, links in the comments, per usual, all that fun stuff. But yeah, $50 for everything that you see here. And one other thing, excuse me, this is not LED specific, meaning that if you put LEDs in, you're still going to have to address the hyperflash, whether that's through a flasher module or through resistors or whatever. But if you have this and LEDs, you also need something to mitigate the hyperflash. So let's see here. What kind of questions do we have? What is a DRL? Daytime running light. Lights are on when the ignition is on. Are you only offering the light bulb? I don't really understand that question. This kit does not come with any light bulbs. It's just the actuation of the light bulbs, the behavior there, if you will. What's in the kit? What does it do? I think we went over that. The kit is all this stuff. It is not truly plug and play because you do have to wire in with the butt connectors here. It's all high quality heat shrink stuff. This is just for the light or for the wire for if you want to turn the opposite side off. Basically, this is kind of more of a temporary thing. That's why we leave that guy in there. So it's not on the site. No longer accurate, but that was accurate. We wanted to wait until we had this up. So, yep, it's available right now. How difficult is the installation? Pretty easy. Bolt this in somewhere. Again, on this one, we bolted it in on the opposite side of where the relay is here. So if this were a naturally aspirated car, there'd be a little plastic piece that this bolts into. So just find a place to bolt that in is really the short version. And then real simple wiring. Nothing's very hard to get to. It's all pretty accessible. So it's not strictly plug and play, but it is really pretty easy. How do switchbacks work? Again, I think I went over that, but parking light, white, turn signal, amber is really the short version. And it does it all automatically. There's no wiring you need to do for the switchback specifically. You just plug it in and there you go.
You may want to mention we sell the switchback bulbs.
We do sell the switchback bulbs as well. Sorry, that's a given in my mind, but it might not be a given in everyone else's mind. But yeah, we sell a whole pile of LED things, including the switchbacks, which are very cool. Resistors required. If you're using LEDs, you need to do something to address the hyperflash, be that resistors or an LED-specific flasher module. Retrofitted. Can you retrofit it to a car that has low beams as a DRLs? Good question. So this kit won't care. This kit will work totally fine, but your low beams and your parking lights or turn signals will be on if your car already has the low beams as a DRL. You would need to figure out how to turn the DRLs off as DRLs and use these instead of. I'm sure that is a solvable thing, but I don't know the specifics there. So if you can, I want to say that it's the module, a module that does that. So if you replace your Canadian spec with the US spec and then do this kit, that would probably get you there. Have not verified that. Full refund if that's not correct, but I think logically that follows. Okay, different for an NA? Nope, it's the exact same. NA, NB, and NC for that matter, it's the exact same. Where you put the module is going to vary based on what kind of space you have. The NC is a little more challenging because it's more difficult to get to the lights. You have to take the fender liners out. Not a huge deal, but a thing. We will get the instructions updated for those wiring directions, but it's a universal module, so it's pretty straightforward as far as how it wires up and everything. How does it look on an NB1? Is it available? Again, works fine on an NB1. NB1s do have an amber lens in the headlight housing, so that doesn't change the functionality of the DRL module. It does change the functionality effectively of the switchback. So it's not going to be a white light if you have an NB1 with stock headlight housing. There's another question in here about how you remove that amber lens. No idea. I have not tried that. I would imagine it's possible. I would imagine it requires some finesse and being very careful to make sure that you don't break anything in the process of removing that, but not a thing that I have dug into myself. Let's see, available for the NC. Yeah, again, it's a universal kit, so it'll hook up that way fine. Again, we don't have the directions current yet, but we will. Why are my LEDs blinking fast? Because you don't have a resistor or an LED-specific flasher module. LEDs have lower resistance. The stock system sees that low resistance, says a light bulb is burned out. It's not actually true, it's just a lower resistance, so you have to modify that. The right answer is a flasher module that's calibrated for that to start off with. The quick, easy, and cheap answer is a resistor. They both work fine. Clear LED inner bulb for NB1. Again, sorry, I'm getting kind of repetitive here, but sure, we can give you the switchback, but it's still going to show up amber because you have that lens. Remove that lens, you'll have a white parking light and an amber turn signal. And a little bit out of left field-ish, will we be offering full NA light assemblies in the future? I don't know what you mean by full NA light assembly. I don't know if you mean a complete drop-in headlight. If that's the case, maybe. Stay tuned. If you're talking about something else, let us know what that is, and we will try to answer that question. And that is the list of questions that I have. Kyle?
Got two more.
Alrighty.
Any plans to sell a complete kit that includes LED bulbs and the required flashers or resistors?
So I don't know if you guys caught that. The question is, are we going to sell a complete kit that has all of everything you need? The answer is we basically do that right now. So we have basically a web page that has all the LED options, and you just check the boxes. So it's kind of a kit of your making, if you will. There are a number of different options for brightness of bulb and color, like the switchback or the normal and all that kind of stuff. So a pre-built kit would get a little awkward. So again, we just have a list. Here are all the options. Check the boxes for what you want. Hit add to cart, and you're good to go. So as easy as possible while maintaining the flexibility to give you guys the options of what you want.
And is there an auxiliary switch to turn on or off the DRL?
Is there an auxiliary switch to turn on or off the DRL? No. I don't thinking about the wiring diagram, I do not think that is possible because you have to interrupt the wire for the turn signal. It goes into the module and then back out of the module. So if you turn the module off, your turn signals just aren't going to work at all. So no, not without getting complicated and having multiple switches maybe and things that are just not worth the headache. So theoretically, maybe realistically, I'm going to say no. Okay, Kyle, more questions?
One more.
Okay.
Popped up. Is there a switchback option with a yellow DRL and an amber turn signal?
Ooh, not that we sell currently. That's an intriguing option. Kyle, you've done all the LED research. Are you aware of such a thing?
Not that I've heard of, no. But a traditional LED is just a dimmer amber and a brighter amber. So you could use the dim, depending on how you wire it, dim as the DRL and bright as the turn signal. Sure.
So I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but the short version is no, currently not. You could just use the amber one and have dim amber and bright amber versus, for parking light versus turn signal. I do see what you mean about like a yellow Eurofog or whatever they are as the DRL, and then an actual amber, more of an orange tone for the turn signal. That's an intriguing thought. First time we considered that. So we'll have to talk to our friends over at Diode Dynamics to see if they have anything, if that's a possibility, so on and so forth. So maybe. Okay, Kyle, more?
That is it as far as questions.
All right. It would appear that we have answered all the questions. Okay, well, if you guys come up with more questions, put them in the comments. Shoot us an email, give us a phone call, whatever. We will try to get you taken care of ASAP. Follow us on the socials, all that fun stuff, whatever. And we'll be back here next week, Thursday at 2 o'clock, with another Facebook Live. I have no idea what it's going to be, but something exciting, no doubt. We'll see you guys then. Thanks.